Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? I hope you're all well and that you've been having a great week so far. I'm Wivzy, and if you're new to my corner of the internet, a warm welcome to Isabella Banks YouTube channel. Here, we dive headfirst into the latest happenings revolving around Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan. So, make yourself at home and let's get into the conversation. A heartfelt thank you to all of you for your contributions in the comment section. A special shout out to Kim Coates, who commented on my last video. In the comment section, you said, Harry says all the time how happy he is to be Meghan's husband. Kim Charles with Diana, and now William with Kate, fear being overshadowed. Harry knows that he is not in Meghan's shadow. He is in Meghan's light. I love that. Kim's words beautifully encapsulated my sentiment. Thanks for keeping the conversation going. So, guys, the ongoing battle between the toxic British media and Prince William to obstruct the reconciliation between Prince Harry and King Charles persists. At this juncture, perhaps King Charles should take a page from the Queen's playbook and invest in a burner phone. I came across articles from before King Charles's coronation suggesting he had contemplated abdicating the throne to allow William to leapfrog the line of succession. But Camilla was against the idea. I wonder if he still thinks that was the best decision. You know, his situation reminds me of Elon Musk. Do you all remember how vocal Elon was about Twitter's censorship of certain tweets, only to end up acquiring Twitter and then realizing that some level of censorship on the platform is necessary? In my last video, a viewer speculated that King Charles might be signaling his desire for Prince Harry and Meghan to return, or at least assume some royal duties due to his upcoming royal tour to Kenya. I found that perspective interesting and I decided to look into that angle. Before we dive into the details, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to our channel, hitting the like button, sharing the video, and activating the notification bell. For our returning subscribers, welcome back. It's wonderful to have you with us. Thank you for joining us again. Don't forget to hit the like button and the notification bell so you know when I upload my next video. Okay, now that all protocols have been observed, let's dive in. One thing we can't deny about King Charles is his understanding of the royal game. In preparation for his trip to Kenya, the palace organized a meeting with UK-based Kenyan business leaders, followed by a reception. When the people of Kenya in Kenya learned about King Charles's upcoming visit, demands for compensation, which the Kenyan courts had ordered the British military to pay for causing damage to 12,000 acres of Kenyan land during a military exercise, resurfaced. Of course, the British High Commission in Kenya joined the efforts to promote the upcoming visit of King Charles to Kenya. Look at this tweet, which reports that the British High Commission in Kenya customizes its vehicles with graffiti ahead of King Charles III and Queen Camilla's visit to Kenya. But can I just say, the people of Kenya were not having it. This commenter said, King Charles coming to Kenya to celebrate our independence is like a narcissistic ex-husband inviting himself to his ex-wife's divorce celebrations, and nothing has ever resonated so well. Ouch! As I went to check out the local Kenyan headlines, most were angry locals awaiting King Charles's arrival, and Laikipia residents seeking royal support on the Batuk dispute. Okay, so the Batuk dispute pertains to the compensation the British Army were ordered to pay, which I had referenced earlier. In light of the Kenyan people's resistance to King Charles's visits, Kenyans were obviously recruited to promote the event. My immediate reaction to this is, why is it that African countries always pander to the royal family? What's the secret? What's really behind it? Because despite the atrocious behavior of the royal family to Africans, we always seem to throw out the red carpet when they deign to pay us a little bit of attention. Do we really believe in the UK's promise of cooperation? Look at this tweet from the Kenyan Tourism Board, which states that King Charles and Queen Camilla's visit would boost Kenya's profile for potential tourists and investors in the UK and beyond. But who's footing the bill for this trip? Hopefully, it's not the Kenyan people. The UK is facing financial challenges and they need Kenya more than Kenyans need them. Oh Lord, when will Africans start flexing their self-esteem muscles, recognizing their value to the world? Or am I just looking at this too simply? The UK High Commissioner to Kenya cited the warm relationship between the UK and Kenya as the reason for the visit, emphasizing that Kenya was one of the first countries Queen Elizabeth visited upon ascending the throne. The desire to discuss potential business collaborations, especially related to climate change, were also mentioned as part of the reason why King Charles was going to Kenya. Essentially, this visit is being sold to the Kenya people as being beneficial for business. But how beneficial would it be? That's the question. When their efforts to soothe the tempers of the Kenyan people did not appear to be working, they got those Kenyan people who had been knighted by the royal family to endorse King Charles's visit to Kenya and the government in power. Let's look at this tweet by Abuga Makori EGH, MBE, which says credit to CS Kindiki and PS Omolu for restoration, peace and stability. Having His Majesty King Charles III in Kenya is not a mean achievement. President William Ruto is determined to see Kenya being home to giant investments. The King's presence next week will boost investors. There's no need to even go further with that tweet because you can see that for the promotional tweets that it is. In response, a Twitter user commented, King Charles III and Camilla must be reminded of the brutal war waged by the British colonial government and the butchered Kenyan heroes like Dedan Kimathi, who they buried his body in a place that has never been found. So that means that the promotion of King Charles's visit to Kenya has not really gone over very well. Apparently, no PR magic can erase history. Well, duh. So, desperation mode activated. King Charles then tried to chase clout by aligning himself with Prince Harry. Look at this headline. King's plea to the nation. Don't let the acrimony and rancor of social media debate corrode our national life. Excuse you? Kindly start with cleaning up your own social media account first, and then, only then, we might listen to you when you try to steal Prince Harry's talking points to improve your own public image. King Charles preaching about social media when he hasn't even tidied his own accounts is like telling your neighbor to mow their lawn while yours is a jungle. I told you guys in my previous videos, their handlers are watching them closely and immediately saw what King Charles was trying to do. Don't believe me? Look at this headline. King Charles makes subtle tributes to Prince Harry's work outside royal family. The royal handlers are playing a high-stakes game of chess. On whose behalf, though? That's the question. As King Charles made a subtle tribute to Prince Harry's work, Prince William noticed and was like, no. We don't need Harry. Eugenie and Beatrice got this. Sure, King Charles has a handle on charity projects, but finance, not so much. You only have to look at the cash for honor scandals and the decisions that led to Harry and Meghan's departure to show a lack of financial street smarts. To overshadow King Charles's latest signals to Prince Harry and prevent any public perception of reconciliation, more articles like this one were circulated. The headline reads, King Charles is still really angry with Prince Harry for airing family difficulties. Let's look at this logically. Do we really think that King Charles is really that fussed about Harry and Meghan's projects? Perhaps to the extent that Prince Harry publicly called Camilla a villain in Spare. But what other reason would King Charles have to be angry? I suppose if you considered the court cases which Prince Harry have filed against the media, who are perhaps holding a boatload of King Charles's secrets. Yes, but also no. Why? Although it's his name in the headline, King Charles has no issue because as he is king, he is above the law. So that means that no one can hold him accountable on corruption charges, not even for things he did before he became king. My hunch is King Charles understands this, and now he's king, he doesn't care about public perception. Let's not forget that he penned his own book during his own time, saying some rather unflattering things about his mother, who was the reigning monarch at the time. So, what was the purpose of this latest article stating that King Charles remained angry with Prince Harry? We'll get into that in a moment. Let's pivot a bit. As I pondered this question, I was momentarily distracted by a headline about Princess Anne and Prince Albert discussing the future of the Olympics in Mumbai. Did you guys hear anything about Princess Anne traveling to see Prince Albert or the events they attended in the news cycle? Exactly. Hold that thought for a moment. And what about this headline? Queen Camilla shines in emerald as she arrives at Ascot for a day of horse racing. Did you guys hear anything about this event either? Exactly. It's like they were both wearing an invisibility cloak. So now let's return to the question I had raised earlier about the reason for the article highlighting King Charles's anger against Prince Harry. In my view, it's just a further warning to King Charles to maintain hostilities with Prince Harry, despite the fact that the media know that King Charles has no viable players to run the royal family with. Serves him right though. After all, he was the one screaming that he wanted a slimmer monarchy from the rooftops. Well, good for him. Karma came fast. I saw an article today saying that the royal family were considering recruiting 19-year-old Lady Louise Wessex for royal duties. That's to tell you how desperate they are. Just as we were enjoying the pictures from Prince Harry's visit to the Grand Prix, this nasty article about a so-called childhood friend of the Queen criticizing Meghan surfaced. The article was so random that I started wondering why this article had been planted in the news cycle in the first place. Meghan hasn't been in the spotlight recently, especially after the Invictus Games, although her absence from the spotlight has never stopped the media from reporting on her ad nauseum. But as I said, this article was so random. However, as we all now know, such articles often serve as distractions when bad news about another royal family member is about to break. As I read through the article, I realized it was just an excuse to badmouth Meghan once again. I was certain that this article wasn't a standalone piece and something was coming down the pike. Sure enough, an explosive article about King Charles's questionable dealings with an Australian billionaire soon emerged. This article exposed secret tapes of billionaire Anthony Pratt claiming that royal advisors asked him to halt payments to Prince Charles, except for charitable donations, to avoid any appearance of financial impropriety before Charles ascended the throne. My question is, my goodness, why does King Charles need all that money? Isn't he supposed to be a gazillionaire? Or is the wealth of the royal family just a myth? Because they all seem to be limping around as though they don't have any money. Twitter erupted with comments like, another cash scandal. This would lead to more media attacks on Meghan to divert attention away from King Charles. Another chimed in, King Charles has escaped scrutiny for too long, and hopefully these revelations will lead to increased financial scrutiny on William, the current Prince of Wales. Just as an aside, that's unlikely. We just saw that William didn't even take the time to file proper accounts for the Royal Foundation, and nothing was done about it. But what a dilemma for King Charles, though. This revelation couldn't have come at a worse time, which is why I say that his Kenyan tour is being sabotaged. It's clear his handlers are using Meghan as a deterrent to any reconciliation with Harry. Boy, talk about Game of Thrones. Anyway, proving my theory right, I saw this tweet which said King Charles recently held a reception to thank organizers of the coronation weekend and events after Queen Elizabeth II's passing. He was with Camilla, Anne, and Sophie. Notably, Kate Middleton, though available, was not invited, underscoring the ongoing rift between the king and the Waleses. As I have mentioned previously, the rift between King Charles and Prince William makes the negative headlines about King Charles III easy to understand. It also makes the headlines about Prince William and Kate Middleton easy to understand. One last example of the goings on between these two are these two headlines. King Charles promotes hunky aide, Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Thompson, to Super Equerry, making him the monarch's right-hand man. What does that even mean? So many implications in that little headline. On the other hand, you have this headline, Kate and William trump Meghan and Harry in the style stakes as the Prince and Princess of Wales are crowned the best dressed couple in the world. There is a clear attempt to sabotage Charles and Camilla while picking up William and Kate. Who's going to win this battle? Let's consider these questions. Will King Charles get a frosty reception in Kenya like the King of the Netherlands did in South Africa? Share your thoughts below. Now that Byline Times have teased an expose of Dan Wootton's involvement in Harry and Meghan's decision to step down as working royals, we're going to be discussing that story next. For now, that's a wrap. Stay focused, keep shining, and keep thriving. Until next time, take care and bye!